because we needed more chairs and more food. And so thank you for everybody turning out tonight. As you are coming in and finding your seat, my name is Gino Nuzalillo. I work with Common Cause North Carolina. We are a nonpartisan group that is hosting events all across the state like this one. We call these, even though it's a little bit corny, a Unite NC Town Hall Tour. This is number 24 of the town halls we have hosted since July 20th. Hey, we'll take it. And why are we hosting town halls? Well, let me ask you a question. How many of you have heard about something that happened in the state legislature this year, or politics in North Carolina in general, that you have an opinion about? Raise your hands. Okay, pretty much everybody, even our friend over here does. And because we've got strong opinions about issues, we believe it's important for members of the public, North Carolinians all across the state, to have a chance to voice their opinions and to learn about the laws that are going to change all of our lives heading into the next year. So, we are here to do this town hall tonight because our lawmakers often don't do them themselves, and we want to bring information, we want to hear from you, and we also want to bring in organizations who work in this county. You can see them: Public Schools, Strong, Down Home, 7 Directions of Service, Dolores, to tell you about the issues that they are working on. But before we get into all of that information, we'd like to, when we say Unite NC, we really do mean it. So what I'm going to ask y'all to do is look around, and I guarantee you see somebody that you have never met before. Is that true? All right, so just like in church, I want you to take just a few minutes, and I want you to introduce yourself to somebody who is here and tell them why you came tonight. Don't be scared, I promise it's fun. That's right, Mr. Jones. Introduce yourself and say hi to somebody.
We're live. It's in the bag of dongles, wherever that is. I can help.
Yeah, if it's just recording, all right, everybody. Start to bring it back. Say goodbye to your new friends. Say goodbye to your new friends. All right. Start to find your seats. Start to find your seats. This is the best part of listening because this is when I have to try to bring everybody back and head to seats. It's all about bringing everything. If I can stand it. All right, start to bring it back, everybody. Start to bring it back. One mic. All right. Thank you for indulging me. Like I said, we like to have people get to know each other when they're here. And now we're going to continue on with the program. Now, we've got a lot of important folks who are here tonight from Alamance County. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge some of those people. First, if you are an elected official somewhere in Alamance County, or you are running for office in Alamance County this year, I'd like you to stand up so we give you a round of applause and we get acknowledged. All right. Look at that. Thank y'all for being here. I'm sure we'll hear from you soon. If you are a member of the Alamance County Board of Elections who is here tonight to give us good information about voting, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you very much for being here. In the last category, if you are a leader of a organization, or you are a member of the clergy, or otherwise in leadership in this county, please stand up so we can give you a round of applause. There we go. It's good to see you all here. Thank you all very much for being here. So we're going to hear from a lot of different people tonight, and here's how the rest of the event's going to go. I'm going to give you just kind of a short presentation about some of the major laws and policies that have happened in the North Carolina General Assembly this year. This is those fine folks in Raleigh. Once I am done speaking, because we do not need to be here listening to me all night, we're going to invite our organizational partners who are here tonight to tell you about issues they're working on in Alamance County and across the state. Once we are done with that portion, we are going to turn the mic over to you. Like I said, we want to hear your opinion on the issues, and we especially want to hear it for the candidates and elected officials in attendance, but also the elected officials who are not in attendance, and we'll explain that a little bit later on as well. All sound good? Everybody on the same page? Beautiful. All right. So we move to the next slide. Next slide. And to the there we go. Okay. So let me ask you a couple questions as we get started, just so we can kind of understand where we all are in the room. How many of you believe? Well, I want you to raise your hand. How many of you believe that health care is an issue in Alamance County? Every single person. Okay. How many of you believe that public schools are an issue in Alamance County? Okay. Pretty much unanimous on this point. How many of you believe that the environment is an issue in Alamance County? Okay. Beautiful. How many of you believe that your access to the ballot box and voting is an issue in Alamance County? Okay. Pretty much all on the same page. All those issues that I just described have been impacted by what has happened in the North Carolina General Assembly this year. So we are going to go through that here in a moment to talk about some of those important bills that have happened in the General Assembly. I know it's a little bit funky to look at, so I promise I'll read it out to you. First and foremost, we are going to talk about voting here in North Carolina and here in Alamance County. There are two major bills and a third major process that we want you to know about. The first is known as Senate Bill 747. How many of y'all have heard of this number? Oh wow, we got a good group, Sarah. I'm basically going to pick one of y'all to come do the presentation for me. Senate Bill 747 is an elections omnibus bill. That basically just means it makes a lot of changes to how we vote. The biggest change in how we vote in 2024 is going to impact mail voting. Has anybody here voted by mail before? Know someone who has? Okay, good number of people. Now, before in 2020 and in other elections, if you voted by mail, you had up until election day to get that in the mail and sent to your board of elections. And if the United States Postal Service messed up your ballot, for some reason didn't get there within 1 or 2 days, you had 3 days for that ballot to make it to the Board of Elections, as long as it was postmarked and put in the mail before Election Day. That is no longer the case in North Carolina. Now, now in North Carolina, if you vote by mail, if it is not received by the end of Election Day, that ballot will be discounted, even if you sent it before Election Day. If this bill had been put in place in 2020, that would have discounted about 12,000 eligible ballots statewide. And what I want to ask y'all, that might not sound like a big number, but who can tell me what the race between Sherry Beasley and Paul Newby was decided by in 2020? So, what was that? A little bit higher. Somebody else guess. I'll tell you the answer for you. It was about 401 votes. So in North Carolina, we know that our elections can be decided by 401 votes. And so this bill does restrict when ballots can be accepted here in North Carolina. There's a number of changes to Senate Bill 747. I can't keep you here till midnight, so I won't go through every single one of them, but you do have booklets that you got when you came in that outline some of those changes. There's also a bill known as Senate Bill 749. How many of y'all have heard about this bill? Even fewer. I knew Elizabeth would. Senate Bill 749 is going to change how your elections are run. Previously in North Carolina, you had a local board of elections and a state board of elections. Each were made up of 5 members. 2 that were Democrats, 2 that were Republicans, and a chair that came from the governor's party. This will change so that your state board of elections will have 8 total members, 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and your local board of elections will have 4 members, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. That might not sound like a problem. Does anybody believe that it's a problem? I see some handshakes, I see some hands raised. Here's why we think that is a problem from the perspective of common cause. Part of the problem is that, and it may not necessarily be here so in this county, because I know our Board of Elections works well together here in Alamance County, but in other counties, we are concerned because the 2 parties often have pretty strong differences over elections policy. And under this new law, Senate Bill 749, we're worried that gridlock could result. Gridlock between election boards. If that were the case, the way that gridlock might work in the case of early voting in North Carolina is it could cause a reduction from a number 10, 20 sites in bigger counties to be reduced to about 1 in the event that there's gridlock over early voting plans through a local county board of elections and a state board of elections. So we are worried about gridlock when it comes to this change. The last big change I want to tell you about when it comes to your elections is around voting maps. This week, y'all got new voting maps to vote in next year. How many of y'all seen these maps? All right, see, some people have them. So I'm gonna go to the next slide. So you are going to have new voting maps in 2024, which means you may have a new person representing you in Congress, and potentially new people to vote for your state house and your state senate. We'll send you these slides afterward, but there's one big change to Congress for Alamance County. Right now, y'all are represented by Congresswoman Valerie Fouché. You are in a district that includes Durham County and Orange County. You're with all those carpetbaggers in Durham and Chapel Hill. And you elected a Democrat. In 2024, under new maps, Alamance County is going to be paired with part of Guilford County, Randolph County, Moore, Chatham, Polk, and even part of Fayetteville. This is a district that favors, just based off numbers, Republicans by 13 points. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you are now going to be in a much more conservative congressional district. Which, you may love or you may not love. But that is the change that is happening here in Alamance County. Similarly, your state house districts have changed. You might not be able to see it perfectly well here, but you have House District 63 and House District 64, currently held by Representative Stephen Ross, and Representative Dennis Rydell. Now, the district that is currently represented by Representative Ross used to be a district that slightly leaned to Democrats. The new district will lean more strongly for Republicans. It essentially does that by splitting the town of Burlington in half. It goes from, like I said, a slightly lean Democratic district to a lean Republican district. And the other district that's represented by Dennis Rydell is just a little bit less conservative, but still strongly conservative. So all that to say, these are different than what you voted on. You may have a new district based off these new maps. And the political dynamics have changed. Whether you love it or you hate it, the political dynamics have changed as well. And also for folks who are trying to take photos, I'll make sure you get all of these slides as well. And the last change I want to tell you about impacts your Senate district. Currently, y'all are represented by Senator Amy Gailey. This district is largely unchanged, if I have that right time of day. It's all of Alamance County together, and then it goes into Randolph County, and is a strongly conservative district. Okay. Lots of information. Common Cause, we mostly work on voting rights, representation, and democracy issues. So we have other folks who are here who have expertise in other areas. So I'm going to start first introducing y'all to a few other organizations who are here, who are going to talk about some related issues and changes that are happening here in the General Assembly. But actually first I'm going to turn it over to our friends from Alamance for Good Government, because we're talking about districts and we want y'all to hear from them next about how they are working with the districts here in Alamance County. So feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Tanya Klein with Alamance for Good Government, and Gino mentioned districts. What we have in Alamance County is actually a lack thereof of districts. So Alamance for Good Government is a group of just community members that came together to address the fact, not really address it, but to just engage with people, to let people know this exists. I'll be honest, I didn't even know until a few years ago. About 2020 is when this came to my attention. What we have in Alamance County is called an at-large voting system. And what that means is that when you vote for all of the candidates that are running. So if 3 of the county commissioners are running, you would vote for all of them. And if you notice, all of our county commissioners live within a couple of miles from each other. This method tends to result in the majority, the folks that represent the majority, winning the elections. So you can see they look very similar and they all live a couple of miles from each other, leaving most of the county without geographical representation. We could also talk about socioeconomic representation and racial representation are all lacking here. The other way to do it is to have districts, like our neighbors over in Guilford County have districts. We wouldn't draw the maps. That would be for the community to do and for the commissioners to do if they so choose to do that, right? But you can imagine maybe we might have 5 districts, and so people that lived in one of those individual districts could run, and then the people that lived there could vote for them. So then you would have potentially representation over the entire county. So, and we have information in the back. I know it's kind of a lot, and I've given you just a really quick spiel. We have a very long presentation or a short presentation that we could come and give to any organizations or community members that are interested in learning more. Happy to do one-on-one, sit down and talk to folks. And all of our information's in the back. And if we can go to the next slide, we have a QR code if anybody wants to just pick that up. But like Gino's, this will be in the slides that Gino sends to you. So.
All right, everybody. Y'all still with us? All right. I know it's a lot of information, but we're going to keep going right through it. And you are going to see in a moment why I don't get invited to parties anymore. Because some of the news sometimes brings some folks down. And that's why I'm going to start talking about the state budget next. How many people here have read the new state budget for North Carolina? We got one person. So you have a new state budget in North Carolina. Determines how the money you pay in taxes gets distributed all across the state. And there's a number of things that have happened in this budget that are going to change, and they're going to impact your pocketbooks and also impact public resources. So let me tell you about a few parts of this. First part of the budget does something that is really positive for North Carolina. It expands Medicaid access. Healthcare, that's right. Give a round of applause if you want. There you go. North Carolina expanded Medicaid this year through the state budget, which means 600,000 folks who previously did not have access to this health insurance plan now will get access to health insurance in North Carolina. That starts on December 1st, 2023. And I know our friends at Down Home were a big part of that campaign statewide, as well as many other groups. What was that? John Calhoun?
Good job, Down Home.
Good job, Down Home, that's right. I thought you said John Calhoun for a second. I was like, who's John Calhoun? Anyways. At the same time, this state budget is going to reduce your personal income taxes over the next couple years and the rest of the decade. I can't remember the percentage off the top of my head, so I won't give you misinformation, but continues to reduce the personal income tax. It also eliminates income taxes for corporations in North Carolina. So corporations, here's some boost. Corporations by the end of this decade will no longer pay an income tax. So why does that matter? That means that by the end of this decade, North Carolina is going to have about $8 billion less in revenue. $8 billion less in revenue, and in some cases potentially $13 billion fewer to use to raise teacher salaries, to hire more state employees, to pay government employees all across the state, to fund parks, to fund other public works. There will be $8 billion less because of these tax cuts. This budget also refuses, or not refuses is the wrong word to use, but also expands access to private and charter school vouchers in North Carolina. One of our partners are going to come up and tell you more about that in a moment, but it essentially adds a couple $100 million to a program for people who don't want to go to traditional public schools. And in that sense, by the end of the decade, through an analysis of these bills, we'll reduce funding for traditional public schools by about $200 million a year. So that, some of our partners here are going to tell you more about that, but that is another big part of this budget. Last thing I want to tell you about the budget. These affect accountability and transparency in North Carolina. So we're all familiar with the idea that you can FOIA the hell out of any lawmaker, right? If you want a public records, you can request it from lawmakers, and they're supposed to turn that over to you in the interest of transparency. There's a new part of this budget that allows any of your state lawmakers to conceal, sell, or destroy their records. If you wanted access to correspondence about a pipeline, for instance, in North Carolina, your elected representatives would not have to give you that documentation. Additionally, legislators have created a new office called GovOps, Government Operations. GovOps is, and I promise I'm not being hyperbolic, this is just literally what it is. It is an office of state government employees that answers to legislative leaders and is empowered to investigate any public employee in North Carolina, and those public employees don't necessarily have the right to legal counsel to be investigated. I'm going to bring this back to one slide previously here. So they can compel public employees to see any documents that they're using and compel them to cooperate. So at the same time as lawmakers are making it harder to know what they're doing behind the scenes, they are also empowering essentially unaccountable bureaucracy to investigate other public employees. Okay. Everybody on the same page with me here? All right. Yes, we got one question. Go ahead. My understanding is yes, unless somebody would like to to contradict me. Yes. So, that's the state budget. That's changes to voting. But there's a bunch of other stuff that's embedded in here. So I want to invite up my friends from 7 Directions of Service who are part of this event tonight to talk to you about the Southgate extension and how it connects here with the General Assembly, a bunch of other bills. Chris will take it away.
So Mikutamin Chinkiohe, Nahampi Pise, Mima Crystal, Mima Okanichi Steponi Watiwa. So I just gave a traditional introduction in my indigenous language. So I'm from the tribe here, the Okanichi Band of the Steponi Nation here in Alamance County, which a lot of you probably have heritage that you don't know. So my husband and I, we co-founded 7 Directions Service. You know, we've been trying to fight this pipeline that's been coming through. It's called the Mountain Valley Pipeline Southgate Extension. It's up here on the website. And the main issue we want to raise tonight is the threat of this pipeline that's coming through Alamance County. So the main line is coming through West Virginia, and then it's going to turn on a diagonal, and it's going to go through Rockingham County, and then diagonally through Alamance County, and it's going to end right at Alamance Community College. Now, they have plans to probably port this out, so they're going to continue down the river. It's going to affect the Haw River. And I just want to know if anybody's heard about it. So raise your hands if you've heard about it. Okay, some people. So I don't know if you understand that some people live on well water, some people live in city water, and all of the water underground is connected through aquifers and through the Haw River. So whether you live on a creek or a pond, it's all connected, right? And that's why a lot of people are getting sick, is because of the contamination in the water or because of the pipeline. Oh, okay. Speak louder? Yeah. Okay. So it is a 73-mile extension, and it's coming from Pennsylvania County, Virginia. So we've defeated this pipeline 3 times already. So we've defeated it in Virginia. We got the airborne quality permit denied. We got the water quality permit denied twice here in North Carolina because of citizens like you. You guys have called and just commented, and to let the legislators know that we can't take this. So what you'll see, this pipeline is highly explosive. And what these corporations don't want you to know is they'll say, oh, you need it for gas. But this is a fracked gas pipeline. It's not oil, it's not going in your car, but it is the gas that comes in your homes. It's not going to benefit us here in Alamance County. The county commissioners 5 years ago, Bob Bird, raise your hand, wherever you are, he voted against it. The commissioners voted against it unanimously, that they didn't want this pipeline to come through. And here it is again, rearing its ugly head, and Senator Amy Gailey is now a senator. She was a county commissioner at the time and she voted against it, but this year she voted on House Bill 600, which fast-tracked that pipeline that's coming through, because these Republican leaders, and I'm trying to be partisan, but Rydell, he's the one that wrote it. Ross, he supported it. Where are these leaders at tonight? Because are they drinking this water that's coming through? No. They probably have a reverse osmosis that costs $10,000. I don't know if you guys can get that. I sure can't afford a $10,000 piece of equipment on my well system. Sorry, just a little bit heated. But currently the developers are waiting on whether they have been granted a new certificate to start seizing private property. So we're talking to property owners, but we're also talking to the community. Because if you're an affected property owner, they're going to take your land, cut right through it, or take all of your stuff. You still have to pay the taxes on it. But if you are a community member, you're living right beside a pipeline that it could explode. You could be in a blast zone. You could be in an evacuation zone. And when it blows up all of these harmful chemicals in the air. So you have contaminants that lead to asthma, that lead to COPD, chronic, pulmonary disease. All of these things can be really harmful to you, everybody, right, in the community. So we really have to stand together. The project is missing necessary permits to begin construction. And since 2018, their permits have been denied multiple times on environmental and environmental justice grounds. We know from our fight against the main line in Virginia and West Virginia that these developers are bad actors with no concern for our community, for our welfare, and only for their bottom line. They're only concerned about the money that they can make. They've been cited for over 500 water quality violations in West Virginia and Virginia because of these permits and laws. The MVP is knowingly rushing to put through corroded pipes. So the pipe in Virginia stands about this tall, 42 inches, right? And when it comes to North Carolina, they're going to force it down to a 24-inch pipeline. They're going to put a compressor station within our crow fly area. So that is, again, going to release toxins into the community. So the elderly and the youth, they're going to be affected. And so despite an overwhelming public outcry concerning evidence, as their projects is billions of dollars over budget and behind schedule, we will not allow this unnecessary destruction to descend on our lands and our communities, especially here in Alamance County. I was born and raised here in Alamance County. I ran for Congress in the 4th District just last year. I lost, but that's okay, I might run again. But again, they have no local connections to our communities, supply for our homes, for our businesses, and any jobs or tax revenue created by the construction is all minimal and short term. Once they lay that pipe in the ground, that pipe depreciates. So what the county commissioners and the General Assembly do not know is when they put this in service, it's going to depreciate. And whatever money they have promised the counties, they're not going to get it. And so at the end of the time, the counties are going to be paying for this. So they're going to be paying to keep the upkeep of it, the maintenance of it, as well as the emergency management. That's going to put a stressor on our fire departments, our firefighters, our paramedics, any type of response time that's going to come back. And unfortunately, our current General Assembly representatives, they supported the project despite pushback from landowners. We had a call in to your Congress people, Republican representatives and community members because of their political differences. We told them we did not want this. You are not listening to the community. And so Representative Rydell, he helped write and co-sponsor this. So now it's going to be up to everyday people like you, myself, people in our community. We're asking you to come and help defeat this project. And the best time to do it is now. Right now we have a canvassing campaign in the community, and we're paying $20 an hour by spreading public awareness, going door to door, knocking on these doors, because we need your help in these comment periods that are coming up and the hearings. And we're leading, we're going to like re-level the places where there's Black, Indigenous, and poor communities to just try to let them know about this pipeline that's coming through. And so there's many people that we've known. Casey door knocked the other day. There's a lot of people that do not know this pipeline is coming through. So we're gearing up to fight this next round of permit applications. And we really need your help because we're going to need as many folks as possible to join us. We're going to provide free transportation to these public hearings where we will need you to come and speak to these legislative leaders and say, we don't need this. So come and talk to us. See us at the back. I want to show you these papers that I want you to have. So the first one is our 7 directions of service. We have it in English and Spanish. The next one talks about PFAS in the Hall, the Eno, and the Little Rivers. Real important. If you don't know what PFAS is, it's a very scientific name. I can't even pronounce it, but it's on here. But that tells you about the chemicals that you're drinking in your water. Also, the Hall River also has 1,4-dioxane. This is a language that my tribe, this is called Tutelo Saponi. This is Mani Inese. We have buttons back there, we have posters, we have stickers. But that means the water is alive because the water is our relative. I'm telling you, the water is alive because if you don't believe it, water will destroy your stuff. Finally, we have a fact sheet about the Mountain Valley Pipeline. It lists all of the facts. On the back is a map. We also have an interactive computer that you can put your address in to see if the pipeline is coming through your property or close by you. So please see us back there. The final thing that we have is called the rights of nature. So this is the second campaign that we're leading. This talks about giving the rights of nature back to like the water or to the forest because corporations have rights, but the environment does not. Water does not. and we're trying to give it back because we believe that the water, the environment, the air, everything that sustains us as humans and other animals, we have a right to life. The river has a right to life, to be clean and flourish. Amen. So thank you so much. And we also have this in Spanish. And then finally, we have a community event that we will be having on Friday, community meal, a video. Come see us, come get the information. We want everybody there because together we will defeat this. We will unite as a community. And as you've seen on these PowerPoint slides, we can't not do this without you. We cannot stop the General Assembly from pushing these harmful laws, such as voting, access to education, that environment. We can't do this without you. We really can't. So thank you so much, Gina.
We might just drop the mic there. I don't know if any other words can be said. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. Next, we're going to talk about public education. So I'm going to invite up my friends from Public Schools Strong, Down Home, North Carolina, and Every Child NC to come up and join us next. So I believe that's CJ and Todd. There we go. CJ, I almost thought you left. I was real nervous. And they're going to talk to you a little bit about public schools statewide, as well as issues of public health in public schools here in Alamance County. So I'm going to turn it over to them here.
Alamance, 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 Alamance. Y'all ain't get crunk with me, that's all right. How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Good. So, I am CJ Brinson, Rev CJ Brinson, the resident clergy leader at Down Home, North Carolina. I'm the regional organizing manager. The areas that I cover are Cabarrus County, Person County, and good old Alamance. So happy to be here with all of you tonight. I'm here tonight to talk to you a little bit about Down Home. I'm also going to turn it over to my colleague if he has a few words to talk about our Public School Strong campaign. But Down Home essentially is an organization, and I believe many of you know, we are trying to build a multiracial working class power in small towns and rural communities. And so I'm going to ask my Down Home crew if they would stand up tonight. Come on. And you will see some of our PSS folks as well. And as you can see that we are on the way to accomplishing that vision. This year we have been involved in an issue-based campaign where we didn't necessarily set out to win, but we do set out to build capacity within our organization to achieve many of the transformative goals that you all are looking to see happen within your community. So one of those fights was we wanted the county commission not to fund the expansion of a courthouse and put that money into education. We had a 3-month sustained campaign, and we were really asking people to come out in the campaign to help us, to come out to speak to the county commission. And unfortunately, they didn't really listen. That ain't right. And so they didn't really listen, although we did get some funding that was geared towards schools in terms of local supplements and things of that nature, but they didn't listen. And lo and behold, in the summer, Down Home was looking like prophets in the community because that's when the school mold issue came. And had they had listened to us in the summer during this campaign, we could have potentially stifled a mold crisis here in Alamance County. So we've been involved in that, but the most important work that we are involved in, and I'm happy to talk to you about tonight, is that it is election season in Alamance County. How many of you know that? Mm-hmm. And I get really excited about election season here in Alamance County because this election happens to be a very historic election. And this is what we need to really turn our attention towards, because it is important to have certain individuals who are in alignment with us so that when we have our local issues, they can move on those issues for us. When we went and talked to the county commission, it was all, can I say Republican? Yes. It was all a Republican-led county commission.
That ain't right.
Of folks who didn't look like all of the vibrant and beautiful faces that are in here tonight. And so we want to change that at Down Home. We want people who are in alignment. We want people who believe in health care for all. We want people who believe in public schools for all. We want people who believe in saving the environment. We want people who believe in making sure that black and brown people are not abused and assaulted by local law enforcement. So those are the things that we are for. And right now, to make sure and to ensure that this campaign season and this election season is historic, we are engaged in a major campaign effort where we have knocked over 2,200 doors, had over 500 conversations, because we believe we're going to turn the tide in Alamance County here during this local election. So I'm going to ask, this Saturday, we have a Super Saturday. We have a Super Saturday, and we need some volunteers to help us to get to knocking over 1,000 doors this Saturday. And so I'm going to ask if you would, if you want to be a part of this vision and transforming Alamance County, if you would get with my good sister, Ebony Pennick. Stand up, Ebony. Sign up to knock doors with us on Saturday so that we can flip the city council, so that we can make history, not just in Alamance County, but what you do here in Alamance County is going to make history throughout the state of North Carolina. You better believe it. So please come out on Saturday if you're available. Sign up. Be with us on that Super Saturday. We look forward to transforming Alamance County with you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? My name is Todd Warren. I work with Down Home, North Carolina, and to help coordinate our Public School Strong project. Great to see folks turning out all across the state, especially in Alamance County, to our school board meetings for fully funded, honest, equitable public education. I'm not going to be very long because I have folks much more knowledgeable here to talk to you about the budget and what just happened. But when I saw that Alamance County was out of school for 2 weeks. Raise your hand if you were affected by the bold situation. If your kids were at home or you were delayed from going to work. And I saw that Alamance had to spend $17 million that was not in the school budget to remediate that mold. And then I saw what Gino just posted up here, that the budget is going to allocate $500 million with a B additional dollars to get up to $750 million over the next 5 to 10 years to give away tax dollars to private schools. I have one thought. Alamance County, do y'all have private school money? No, we need money to clean up the schools that we have. And the good news is that the Public School Strong Project and HEAL and our partners at Every Child NC and the EJA, we've been talking to people around the state. They don't tell us they want private schools. They want high quality teachers. They want AP course offerings. They want bus drivers. They want extracurricular activities. They want counselors. They want nurses. We can have that, but we cannot give away public dollars and put them in private hands and have nice things. Okay? Our public schools do so much, but especially through the pandemic, it was the cafeteria workers and the bus drivers that were out there making sure our families were fed. It was not private entities that are out there making our families were fed. We do so much more than just teach kids, but to do that well, we're going to have to invest. So I want to let Sarah and Susan come up and talk a little bit about the good news is there's some money.
Hey, thanks, Todd. Hey, everybody, I'm Sarah, and I am coming to you from Durham. I'm a Durham public school parent, and believe me, we were sharing the outrage and the frustration, knowing the hardship that caused to delay the start of school, all that lost instructional time, how hard it was on educators and school staff. And I am an advocate, so I advocate with the North Carolina Justice Center, and I support a statewide coalition called Every Child NC. We're leading the fight for equitable school funding in our state, and we're organizing around, show of hands, who's heard of our state's landmark school funding lawsuit, which is called Leandro. Nice, beautiful. So the good news is our highest court in North Carolina, our North Carolina State Supreme Court, has ruled in favor of us, of communities and families. Most recently, in a historic win for children and for families in November 2022. And then guess what happened with the midterm election? Power grab, right? And the people have been working real hard to defund and dismantle public education. Finally saw their opening. And so guess what, folks? Not because they need to, not because they can't just release the money and enforce the Leandro plan and that ruling, because we have the money, but instead they're going to be taking it back to the state Supreme Court to rehear Leandro, because they think that they can strip our children away from their right to public education, right? I want everybody to take a look at this number. This is just what's owed children in our school district here, Alamance, Burlington. So that's from birth to 5, including K-12. So over $72 million. Could that money go towards anything that we need in the schools? Could that money help out and relieve the hardship that our children, our families, our educators are facing? Our state Supreme Court agrees, and they have ruled that that money needs to be released. But because of partisan fight and the attack on public education, we stand with our friends at Down Home and HEAL. We are in this fight together. We're going to need to continue to turn out. We're going to need to continue to support one another. With that, I want to give a shout out to my movement colleague, Jackie, who's our state organizer based at Education Justice Alliance, and our incredible advocate, my movement colleague, Susan Book, who's going to invite everybody to an event that we're going to be doing on infrastructure.
All right, guys, from the comfort of your own home, in your pajamas, you can learn about infrastructure funding, and I'm not kidding, because that is my favorite way to advocate. So, we're going to talk about the cracks in our foundation. We're going to talk about a statewide school bond. It has been since 1996. I didn't even have a driver's license in 1996, people, that we have had a statewide school bond. It's time. Leandro puts aside billions of dollars for it. We have billions of dollars sitting there in the state coffers doing absolutely nothing. It is time to fix our AC units. It is time to fix the roof. It is time to fix the water fountains. It is time. So join us November 2nd, 6 to 7:30. It's a webinar. You don't even have to dress up. Come listen and come find out what you can do to help. Thanks.
All right, folks, we are almost to the part where we're going to hear from you. I've got 2 more excellent people I want you to hear from. First is Alejandro Garcia from Dolores. Give a round of applause.
Thank you everybody for being here.
Make sure to speak real loud.
All right. There we go. All right. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. So, does everybody know how the government works now? So sometimes that's how we find ourselves, right? We don't know. We don't know how to start something, how to learn about something. Where do we start? You know, what are we interested in? So one of the biggest things that we're doing here at Valores is having civic education classes from the start. You know, what does a mayor do? What does a county commissioner do? What does a school board do? What are the guidelines? You know, how can we get involved, and can we get involved? What times can we get involved? You know, starting from scratch, doing a lot of classes in Spanish. There's upcoming American citizens. There's children born here that sometimes even us, like, we don't know. All right, so that's one of the biggest things we're doing at Valores. Other than that, we started just as community members. Just as community members here. What should we do? Talked about health, mental health. Talked about music and arts. Talked about culture. And more than anything, civic education. So right now what we're doing is youth mentoring through boxing. We're doing guitar classes, and we're doing festivals. We're doing gatherings, to keep up with the traditions, cultures. November 5th, we're going to have a festival here in La Terraza. I invite you guys to come over to our table out in the back for an invitation and learn more about us. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. So you've learned a lot, you've got a lot of opinions on the issues, and you've got elections in 2023 and elections in 2024. So at this point, I want to invite up our friends from the Alamance County Board of Elections. They serve all voters in Alamance County, and their goal is to make sure everybody gets access to the vote. And they're going to talk a little bit about what you need to know for elections this year and the changes that are coming. So we're going to go to our friends. You look great, Director Herb. And then we're going to invite them up so they can give you some important information about voting here in Alamance County. So give them a round of applause.
Thank y'all for having us tonight. I'm Dawn Hurdle. I'm the director at the Board of Elections. This is Charlene Boland. She's my deputy director. And Noah Reed, he is one of the board members of our 5-member board. And I do want to give our board a shout out for being such a great, they work so well together. We very, very seldom have any issues, and y'all can be rest assured that they work together for the best for y'all and for Alamance County. So we appreciate you know. But our role at the Board of Elections is our mission is to conduct fair and impartial elections in accurate and a timely manner. And what I mean by timely manner is, if you're on the ballot on election night, I know y'all were sitting there waiting for the results to show up on the website. How many, for the final 39 precincts, when that 39 and 39 is on there. But we want that done in an accurate manner. We want it done correctly. And so that's our goal. Our mission is to have the results posted in a timely manner for the candidates and for the citizens of Alamance County. I want to give you all a few stats. Don't play, when you're a certain age, just remember, don't play kickball with your grandchildren. It can result in bad things happening. Okay, Alamance County, as of today, we had 112,296 registered voters. And the number of Democrats we have is 37,128. Republicans are 36,259, and unaffiliated voters are 38,183. So you can see we're basically split a third, almost it's a third, where you do have 22 in the Green Party, 694 Libertarians, and 10 other. So it's pretty even split, as far as the Republicans, Democrats, and unaffiliated voters in Alamance County. We have a few new things that are happening at the polls this year. Does anybody know what they are?
Voter ID.
That's right. Photo ID. And Charlene is going to tell you a little bit about the photo ID. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. We are always willing to take phone calls. If you in the area, come by our new building. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for any issues you have as far as voting. Please give us a call. We are always there to answer your questions. Okay, Charlene's going to talk to you a little bit about photo ID.
Hello, can y'all hear me okay? Okay, I'm from Virginia, and according to Dawn and the ladies at the office, that makes me a northerner. So I apologize if I speak fast. So the new photo ID, we're trying to call it photo ID as opposed to a voter ID, because how many people here have a driver's license or an ID card from the DMV? Guess what? You have exactly what you need to come to the polls to vote, okay? So when you go to the polls to state your name and address, which is required by law, which you all do, the third thing they're going to ask you to do is present a photo ID, okay? And all that means is they're looking at the picture on the identification card. Does it match the person standing in front of them? And is the name reasonably similar to the person that's the name they stated to you? So my name is Charlene. It's spelled absolutely the not correct way for the South, and I understand that. So I will have to probably say my name and spell it out. But I will have my photo ID, and I'll be good to go. Now, we do have some caveats for that. It has to be current or not expired, at least within 1 year, okay? So you're given a fairly good grace period for that. Now, North Carolina state law says if you move, make a change to your residence, or move to the state, you have 60 days to get a North Carolina driver's license and or identification card. So we are well within compliance of the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles law, okay? If you have a military ID, a veteran's ID card, that has no expiration date. Certain federal government ID cards have no expiration date either. For my older section of the population who do not drive or don't want to drive, if they have an expired driver's license, it's fine as long as it was still valid on their 65th birthday, okay? And we just had an absentee by mail that came through. The gentleman's driver's license expired in March of this year, but he was also 82 years old. So it was perfectly good to go. It fell within those parameters, okay? So there's a lot of grace periods for that. And really, that's all there is when it comes to photo ID. There's not much to it. I know we started this process, I think, in 2016. It had a stay on it, and the state board and the state legislatures have made it a little bit more lenient going forward because they understand a few of the things and issues that some people might have going forward with it. Yes, ma'am. Student for the Alamance County. So what happens was at the beginning of the year when the state was introducing photo ID again, they invited all employers and universities and or schools to submit their representation of a photo ID card. It had to meet certain criteria from the state, and if it made it and passed, it was good to go. For Alamance County, the only thing that passed that made it in during the deadline period was Elon University staff and student ID. However, the state board did have a news release, I think it was either today or yesterday, that they were going to be rolling out a secondary application process. So if you work for an employer, you might want to get them to say, hey, could you please look into this and see what we can do to make that happen? Okay. Yes?
So what if somebody's license address doesn't match?
Doesn't matter, because the photo ID is strictly to make sure that the face in front of me matches the face in the photo, and that the name you give me is similar to the name that's on your registration.
All the poll workers, chief judges of the polls are also know that, so there's not going to be any issue.
Correct. We actually just finished, 4 days of training And we have specific training for our chief judges and judges, and then we have separate training for what are called our check-in assistants. And those are the kind faces that you see at the very beginning in the poll books with the stickers, as I call them. Any other questions? Reasonable impediment. I love that. I love that word. Okay, sorry. Reasonable impediment. They love alliteration at the state. So if you do not have a photo ID, or for the absentee by mail, if you don't have a way to make a photocopy of your photo ID, there's what's called a ID exception form. So with reasonable impediment, that means you have up to 6 different reasonings as to why you do not have a photo ID. Lost stolen is one of them. You have a religious objection is one of them. And there's another also as well. And these are issues that the general population in North Carolina, when photo ID first came about in 2016, brought to the state board's concerns. They said, hey, what if it was this? What if it was this? So they're not very pigeonholed reasons. They're sort of give you a little bit of burden on there for that. Yes, ma'am.
Could you clarify when the mail-in ballots need to be received in order to be counted?
Yes, so for this election for 2023, as long as it is postmarked by 5 p.m. on election day, which is November 7th, it's postmarked by election day, and I get it in my hot little hands 3 business days afterwards, which will be that Friday, the 10th. It will be valid as long as you signed it as the voter. You got your 2 witnesses to print their name, print their address, and sign it. Okay? So you have to make sure everything is filled out correctly in order for my board to count it. Okay? Because I don't make that decision. The only thing I do is say, does it meet these criteria? Check, 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 check. Great. I give it to my board. They spot audit me. They do it on camera. They make sure I'm doing my job as well. Okay?
Of the reasonable impediment reviews that we made as a board, do you remember what it was almost all of them were accepted?
So we have 2 reasonable impediment ID exception forms, and those were for older citizens, and they just didn't have their photo ID, or they weren't able to make a photocopy of it. If that's the case, they have to give me either their North Carolina ID number, driver's license number, even if it's expired, and or the last 4 digits of their social. And what I do is I present that to the board, and I say, I have this voter. They filled out an ID exception form. This is the criteria that they stated what it was for. And then the board deliberates amongst themselves and says, yes, this vote should count. And I don't think we've ever. And I think we had 2, and they were both approved. So.
Thank you. Give a round of applause to the board of elections. These folks I know will be sticking around at least a little bit longer, so as we get to the end of the event, I know they'll be here to answer questions, and they've got materials in the back. So, lots of information. I'm now ready to hear from y'all. Are y'all still with me in this last little bit? All right. Because part of this town hall tonight was not only to give you all of the information you just heard about what's happening in North Carolina, but it was also a chance for you to voice your opinion about what you think about these issues and what you care about. Just like the question here on the screen tells you, what do you want for the future of North Carolina? But also, what do you want the elected officials who represent you to know about how y'all feel about these issues? We did invite the 3 state lawmakers who represent Alamance County to be with us tonight. In the interest of transparency, we never received a response from Representative Rydell. Representative Ross had a conflict, and Senator Gailey told us she would not participate. So what we are doing here tonight is also capturing what you have to say. Because our goal is to share the comments from anybody who wants to speak with the folks who represent you. And so we invite anybody who has something to say to this audience, and also for the video that we are recording, to use that time now. A couple ground rules. Each person's going to have 2 minutes to speak. Our goal is to give as many people a chance to speak as possible. And Common Cause is a nonpartisan organization. That means anybody who's got something to say can come up and say it. but we are not here to talk about one party or another. We side with no one but the people, and we want to hear about issues and experiences impacting the people here in Alamance County and across North Carolina. There's going to be a clipboard that my good friend Tyler Day, raise your hand, Tyler Day, he's going to be timing you for those 2 minutes. We keep you here all night, and I know some of you love to talk, but we're just going to keep you to 2 minutes. And we're trying to get as many people a chance to speak as possible. If you speak Spanish, one of our interpreters will come up with you and translate your words to the audience as well. Sound good, everybody? Okay. We've got a couple people who signed up as they came in. We're going to go through those sign-ups first. And then once we've exhausted them, and the spirit moves you and you want to speak, we'll go to raise hands and give as many people a chance to speak as possible. The first person, and I want you all to give a good round of applause because it is hard to be the first person to speak, is Christy Ashley. Is Christy here? Christy, we're calling you. Oh, are you Christy? Well, and as you come up, please do introduce yourself again and where you live in Alamance County.
Hi, I'm Christine Ashley. I'm actually working with Down Home North Carolina right now, and I've been working with Down Home for the last, I guess, 2.5 years. And I've moved family from Connecticut to Alamance County because I'm convinced that we got to turn Alamance around. Right now, I'm really concerned that people do not know that there is a municipal election. I am really concerned that people don't know that if they voted in the primary, they actually have to go back and vote again in the general election. I'm really concerned that people don't know who's up for election and what the roles of, for example, Mayor of Burlington City Council really fulfill. And so I'm thinking, like, how do we really extend an invitation for us to really talk seriously about how important these roles are in our everyday, ordinary lives? So those are my primary concerns right now. I'm also very worried about water and drinking water. I'm incensed about the fact that the MVP is threatening people's homelands and farms that they've had for so many generations. And then finally, as a former teacher, I'm just sick to my stomach about the fact that we are now in a space where teachers trained and are being silenced pretty much in the classroom, as if to say that there is no freedom of inquiry for our youngest, which we know we need desperately in this age where the world seems to be on fire. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Christy. The next person, and if I butcher your last name, I'm so sorry. But the next person we're going to hear from is John Treworthy? Truery. Treworthy. You don't want to speak to him? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. All right. And the next person who has signed up to speak is Guadalupe Lagunas. You also totally do not have to. Okay. We'll keep it moving. The next person I've got signed up to speak is Neil Reddy. All right. Nobody wants to speak. Okay. We're going to keep moving. Next person to speak is Jackson Fall. All right. Come on, give him a round of applause.
Hey y'all, my name is Jackson, and I'm a recovering Republican. I've been clean and sane since November 8, 2016. We heard about the maps tonight here in Alamance County. Well, Jeff Jackson is an Army veteran who served in Afghanistan. He's a U.S. representative from North Carolina's first ever 14th congressional district. He became pretty famous creating TikTok videos, including one from inside the Capitol of January 6th insurrection. He had another one recently where he said, folks, I'm not going to be serving you anymore because the new maps are coming out. Guess what? He was right. because they wanted to create a district for Tim Moore. That's a true story. Our new Speaker of the House in the United States, the person third in line to the presidency, is not only an election denier, he was one of the main architects against certifying that Joe Biden won the election. He's third in line to the president now. There's a couple things that they do with these maps. One is called cracking, where they might take a Democrat district, split it in half, attach it to a Republican district so that the Democrats aren't elected anymore. The other one is called packing, where they'll take Democrats that might be in two different districts and have two voices and pack them into one. These are all not good things, like the pipeline coming through, which, by the way, I think we should call it a methane gas pipeline to be a little more clear. With these maps, it doesn't give us much hope that we're going to have equality because they're predetermined. My opinion, there's only one thing we can do. Make the maps wrong by getting young people involved. Let's get some TikTok videos out there about the loss of women's rights to their bodies, our public money going to rich kids to go to private school. Let's get the young people to understand what's at risk. And I'm y'all's neighbor in Hillsborough, so I'm not in Alamance. Love you guys, and I worked hard for Ricky Hurtado.
All right, y'all, we are going to keep it moving. Oh, sorry. I realize that some people may have signed up to speak who didn't actually want to speak. So if that is you, that is totally fine. Just let me know. I'm going to read off the next couple names. The next person who has signed up to speak is Monica de la Paz. Is Monica here? No? Okay. Anthony Miranda. Would you like to speak? No? Okay. All right. We'll keep going. It's all good. And then Adeline Luna. All right. Okay. Then that brings us to the next person, Peter Morka. Come on up, sir.
I don't think I'll do this. I'm affiliated voter. I hate both parties. And what has distressed me slightly here this evening is the misinformation. It's not that it was a lie, it was a half truth. You're only given half the story on school funding. For example, $20 million was given to the school board for maintaining those school buildings, but they chose to spend it on teacher raises, so it wasn't there when they needed it. So you need to know that. The other thing is you want more money for the ABSS schools. Currently they spend $15,000 per student. If they can't get it done with that, they need to resign and put somebody like me in charge.
Thank you very much. See, this is where I end up getting my exercise because I get to run back and forth all the way through. Next person I've got is Algie Gatewood. Sorry, I think I can't read your first name, but introduce yourself for us. Okay, I've got 2 minutes.
Hey, my name is Algie Gatewood, and I'm a U.S. veteran of the United States military, and I'm an advocate for lineage-based reparations to close the wealth gap and a black agenda for American descendants of slavery. The median white families have 10 times the wealth as the median black families of America. And the wealth gap began with the reversal of 40 acres and a mule after the Civil War. This increased over time with violence after Reconstruction, mass lynching, convict policing, Jim Crow, iron discrimination, and preventing American descendants of slavery from access to the New Deal and the GI Bill. The wealth of black Americans is primarily captured in Social Security, pensions, and baby boomer pensions and home equity, and that can be inherited. And pre-COVID estimates predicted this wealth to go away to zero by 2050. With COVID and inflation, these estimates have increased. And the total amount due as a down payment for American descendants of slavery is $20 trillion. As 13% of the population, we only have 3.3% of engineers, 5.7% of all doctors, and 5% of professors are black, and black college graduates have the same employment rate as white high school dropouts. My call to action is to support lineage-based reparations and lineage-based affirmative action for American descendants of slavery.
Thank you, Mr. Gatewood. All right, we are cooking with gas, my friends, which means that we have exhausted everybody who signed up to speak. So now we'd love to see if there's anybody who wants to come up, share a few words. I know we made eye contact. I knew you were going to come up. So come on up, and if you are interested in speaking, get ready to raise your hand as we go along. Feel free to introduce yourself and where you live in Alamance.
Good evening, everyone. Seneca Rogers, resident of Graham. And I just wanted to get up here to speak about one of the things that the ladies spoke about earlier that can't get lost with people is that our state legislature is not following our state constitution about providing the funding for our kids to have a sound basic education, and that has been proven in the court. And just think about how simple that is, a sound basic education. And they're not funding that. And then another thing that I wanted to speak about is the thing that the gentleman, Mr. Markham, spoke about earlier, when our school system used funding for HVAC systems to give teachers bonuses. And some people speak to that like that is a problem. The problem with giving our teachers bonuses and having to take it from the HVAC is the problem that our schools continue to be underfunded. Because we still have to choose one over the other to do that. If our schools are properly funded, you would not have to take away from the HVAC to end up giving our teachers bonuses. Because our teachers deserve the bonuses. They're in our classrooms every day. They're teaching our next generation. So we do need to make sure we're taking care of our teachers and not just telling the teachers to take care of themselves. We need to ask them how to take care of you. And then the last thing I wanted to address is around the mold remediation, is that our schools did get $20 to $21 million for the mold remediation. The funds was taken from the school system's capital reserve funds. And the county is over our schools. They are county buildings. They did not take any funds from the county capital reserve. They took it from funds that was reserved for our school system, for HVAC, for roofs, and all of that. So now those funds need to be replenished back to our school system so those HVACs and roofs and things can happen. Like I said, you cannot end up talking about our teachers getting bonuses and money taken away from HVAC because of the fact that we need to make sure that our schools are funded where you don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're going to leave right after Jason from next, and we'll come to you. Come on up, my friend.
Alito Chima Chukwa, hello, I hope you're good. What do I want the future of North Carolina to look like? Well, at a minimum, I'd like it to look like the room, at least.
Yes.
So I like to go on the stations, where I'm going to town halls, or I'm going to my elected officials, and I'd like to see a room that looked like this. Elders, women, people of color, people of different religion, people of different party. I'm not scared of the different party. It's just I don't want the parties to come and plant who they think I should vote for, and then when those people get to the federal level, they're selling out my whole state, county, river, town, family. After I can put all my effort and time into building them up, I'd like to see you all. I'd like to elect you all. I'd like you to come and say, I will actually go there, and I know what the problems are. Because my kids are in the school. My grandparents have the bad health care and bad medicine. My family deals with the oppression of law enforcement, of going through the poor neighborhoods and just picking out things that they don't like. So at a bare minimum, I would like to see North Carolina look like this room. And and not have a bunch of so-called professionals that every time we see them, they're falling asleep in meetings because they don't really care, or they're making legislation that just sells us all of us out and saying it's for your best interest because you might get a $10 an hour job out of it. Too bad you won't be able to pay for your child's asthma payments or your elder's health care, senior care, when the water's poisoned. The actual corn that we've been growing for hundreds of years in this county is poisoned. The livestock is poisoned. Your local beef that you trusted because it wasn't shipped over from another country is now poisoned because we turned our own country into that toxic level. At a bare minimum, I would like to see the future North Carolina look like this room.
Thank you, Jason. We're going to go to you next. Come on up and then we'll go to you guys. See, I knew you all would start talking. Come on.
Hey, I'm Angela Taylor. I'm a resident of Gibsonville, and I got to come after Jason when he goes. But I'm up here. I actually wanted to come after Seneca because I actually wanted to talk about what's happening with our school board right now. That we have an open school board seat, and we have a runner-up candidate who is not being chosen for that seat. And how wrong it is that the school board is taking the responsibility on, and I say responsibility very loosely, of choosing the candidate when we have a school board that is not racially diverse, it's not diverse in any way, actually, and Seneca has spent years going to school board meetings, and as you can see from his speech earlier, he knows a lot about our county and how education works here. So if you haven't gotten involved in the situation of the school board, if you haven't written the school board members and said, why are you doing this? Why are you soliciting outside candidates? Why are you considering people who are vote-getters behind Seneca for this seat? You should. And if you have any questions about it, I know Seneca would be happy to talk to you, but so would anybody that supports him. We feel very passionately about this issue, and there's absolutely no reason we should be going through this ridiculously time-lengthy process to choose somebody from the school board when we have already chosen them. As a county, we have already chosen a person. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Michael. You want to go next one? All right. Make sure to introduce yourself and where you live now.
Okay, my name is Tomas Jimenez. I live over here in Burlington. I have my small company of cleaning. And I am in the road, the road is just one line for go and the other line for come back. So I see people, I don't know if it's important what I'm trying to say, I don't speak 100% English, but, I hope you all understand what I say, what I want to say. You know what? I see people crossing because they have something to do, I don't know, urgent or something, And and the other people there, maybe two cars in front and one car trying to cross to those cars, and the other car close to the other, and some cars, run faster for they don't crash, And I see that many times. I don't know, but I don't know if somebody can put some laws, about that, to let to the other person to cross if he can cross, because I hear sometimes crash from one car with other, because I think it's that people, don't want to let to the other car to cross very easy, And I don't know if the law can do something, about that, because can save life, Okay? Thank you very much, and have a good day.
And a reminder too, if you want to speak but English isn't your first language, we can have one of our friends come up as well if you prefer to speak in Spanish, okay? So next, I believe you are speaking next, my friends, so come on up.
everybody. Hello. My name is Stephanie Ena. I am running for town council in Green Level. The reason why I'm running is because a lot of the people in Green Level, because I go door to door, they feel like their vote is not being counted because the same people continue to get on the board year after year after year. And this is like 10 years. So I tell them, why don't you run? Why don't you live out here? No need of me running. I'm not going to the meeting. I'm not going to do this. But I'm the type of person is I got a message from God because I was going to leave Alamance County. I was actually going to Georgia just to live in, the limelight. And he said, no, you can't go because there are people in need. These people actually feel like they can't do anything to get new people on the board. So my thing is, I'll go door to door. I'll do what I can. But I am running for the town council because I want to show them that at some point, a difference has got to be made, and the difference has got to start with me. If everybody take a look in the mirror and want to make a change, look at that person in the mirror. Let them start right there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Friends, we're getting to the end of our program. Like I said, I think you hear till midnight if I could. Come on up, sir. So we're getting to the last few speakers. If you are interested in speaking, make sure you get my attention. And we will, okay, right after. Beautiful. Come on up, sir. I'm going to put these folks up behind you.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name's Ron Osborne, and I am representing tonight the Alamance County Democratic Party. I'm the chair of the party here in the county. And I heard the word used earlier tonight about alignment, about concerns. And I would say that the Alamance County Democratic Party has the same concerns that you've heard tonight. But I also will say that we don't care. We don't care where you come from. We don't care what you believe. We don't care who you love. What we care about is how we treat each other. And how, as citizens, we make sure that we're taken care of, we're taking care of each other. We have affordable health care. We have an equal voice in government, in voting. That we have good public schools where everybody can go and learn, and it's not, it's not diverting money to private schools. We are in alignment with those things that we have talked about tonight: the environment, clean water, affordable health care, a good place to live, safe communities. And so I appreciate the interest you all have shown in coming here tonight. And like I said, if you don't care, like we don't on some of the things I've mentioned, we'd love to have you engage and come to our meetings and be a part of us, because we have a big tent and we believe everybody deserves a seat at the table. So thank you.
Can you tell us where all those guys are?
We will. Well, you can see it on the slide, so thank you, Jackson. Come on up, my friend, and then we've got one person in the back. We'll start with that.
Okay, and I'll be quick. Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen Bailey. I really wasn't even planning on speaking. I just moved here from Greensboro, from Guilford County. And I live in Graham now. And I just came out here because I wanted to get involved and find out what issues people do care about. I have no interest in running, but I am interested in helping other people run. So I do like to volunteer my time on campaigns, whether that's social media, marketing, or just door to door. So I'm happy to get to know everybody, and I hope that I can lend a hand if anyone here is interested and need that kind of a volunteer.
I appreciate it. All right. You want to come up, my friend? And then, is there anybody else that wants to speak? One more? Two more? Okay. We're going to get two more speakers after this, and then we're going to close out. So 3 folks left. I appreciate y'all taking the time. And I put this slide up because I want to kind of have that visual reminder of who y'all are speaking to, the folks who represent you in this county. So,
Hi, my name is Ethan. I'm from Orange County, just down the way. I came here tonight because I really care about this state and this area. And over the last few years, I've seen power become more and more concentrated with a very small group of people in the legislature who are taking power away from everybody else, from the other parts of government, and also from citizens. And I've seen the wealth become more and more concentrated with the people who own the big corporations and not with everybody else in the state and the community. I would really love to see schools be fully funded. I went through North Carolina public schools. I'm sure that a lot of you here also went through North Carolina public schools. They're really important for the whole community, and I'd also love to see a really clean environment where we can all feel healthy and safe and have places to play and live in a healthy manner. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have 2 more folks. You come on up, sir, and then I believe, yes, and then, oh, yes. Oh, 3 more people, and I promise you we'll close that.
I'll do it real quick. I'm Andy Stern. I'm from the League of Women Voters of Piedmont Triad, and Alamance County is part of the Piedmont Triad. And we are here tonight to hear what you're concerned about. But I'm hearing a lot of you do not feel represented. And in Alamance County, I think there is a way you can change that. And the best way to do it, I think, is what Alamance for Good Government is trying to do, which is to get a district system to elect your county commissioners. It may also lead to the school board being done that way. And so I encourage you, they have a petition that you can sign, and the county commissioners and your representatives need to hear that there is interest in that. Because if you want representative democracy, which is what we are, a district system to elect your representatives is much better than if you have an at-large system. And that's represented by the picture that they showed, that all 5 representatives for the Alamance County Commissioners live within a 2-mile area. And they all look like me and not look like the people in this aisle. So I encourage you to go to their website or to sign their petition tonight. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, everybody. Come on up, and then we'll close the meeting.
Hi, I'm Beth Kennett. I live in Burlington, and I'm running for mayor of Burlington. If you live in Burlington, in the city limits of Burlington, raise your hand. Keep your hand up. If you know somebody who lives in Burlington, raise your hand. I can't believe you all don't know somebody who lives in Burlington. Raise your hand. Wave it at me. I'm going to give you cards, and I want you to share them with your friends. And I would love for you to vote for me because I believe that this is what the city of Burlington should be doing, and this is what our city council should be listening to, the people. Thank you.
So we have a final speaker, then we'll close out.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Jimenez, and I'm talking on behalf of being a student from ABSS. And I feel like money should be invested in our schools because I feel like I go to Durham High School and I feel like it's unsafe because it doesn't feel like a very clean environment to me because I be going into my classes like biology class and I sit down and then I look up and there's pieces from the ceiling missing and I'm like, there's literally wires and pipes up there. I don't think that's safe. And like talking from being a teenager, their teenagers' minds, like they go out of the box and do many crazy things, which I don't think is very safe for us. Thank you.
All right. Everyone feeling good? Yes. I want to thank you all so much for being here tonight. You heard about a lot of important issues, and some of them are local and some of them are state. But the 3 people here and whoever represents you after 2024 have a huge impact on how these issues get addressed. and the people who represent you on the school board, on the city council, all of these other offices will also have a huge impact on these issues. So how many of you heard an organization tonight that's local here in Alamance County that you're going to work with moving forward? All right. Every single hand should be raised. That's right. And how many of y'all feel fired up enough, especially after hearing Jason speak, to let the lawmakers that are representing this county know that you were disappointed they didn't come to hear from you tonight? That's right. So my ask of you is a couple of things. One, we're going to send you an email with all of the information. You gave your email when you came in. We're going to use that email to send you these slides. One thing I'd ask you, send an email to these folks. They represent you. You have the right to tell them what you think. And tell them what you heard tonight, what you care about, and how disappointed you are that they haven't held a town hall themselves. And ask them when they're going to do so. That's one. Second, I want you to make sure that you grab as many resources and talk to as many organizations, and most importantly, grab food that's left before you go. We brought a bunch of information for you on a range of statewide issues. Those issues are for you. You can take them and also distribute them. And then three, make the jobs of our friends at the Board of Elections harder by breaking turnout. Give them a lot of ballots to look through in local elections and in statewide elections next year. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you all get home safe, and I hope you learned something tonight. Thank you so much.
Gina, do you want cards?
Sorry, one other note. I totally forgot. You all received cards that say what you want for the future of Alamance County and ask you about issues you care about. If you are inclined to fill that card out, please drop that in the white magic box of mystery here before you leave tonight so that we can hear about what you think. Thank you so much.